Hi, thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Just Off College Avenue. Today we are talking with Blake, and he is doing so many wonderful things in our region, and we are just going to let him tell us more about that, the work that he has done over his course of being with UVA-Wise. So Blake, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Chelsea. Excited to be here, and just want to say I love what you're doing, and it's always a pleasure working with you. So I'm excited to see what we talk about today.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. So I guess first I'll let you give kind of an introduction of yourself and just let people kind of know what's been going on.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Well, for everyone who don't know, my name's Blake Salyers. I'm the Innovation and Ecosystem Manager at UVA-Wise, and essentially what that means is I support student and community startup founders. That takes a lot of different shapes, but in short, we help people start and grow their businesses, and we have a number of different programs and things we do, some that focus directly on students, including the space that we're in today is a space right off College Avenue, and a space where we serve students with a co-working space, lab, and also different creative resources. So that's a student example, and then more community example would be like a startup boot camp that we run annually. We might talk more about later at the end here, but that is a wide open program where people can jump in and get their idea off the ground. We help support them in various ways. So some of the programming, I myself have some entrepreneurial experience, and just excited that I've been able to bring that into the role that I hold now at UVA-Wise. So.
Well, like I said, lots of great things that you've been doing and you've been involved with. I mean, you've even been in some articles recently for all the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I've got some good publicity for the programming lately, which always feels good. People encouraging you, feels good.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll jump into the first question. So I know in 2018 you launched, I may mispronounce this, Winsco.
Wins Company.
Thank you.
That's exactly right.
So could you tell us a little bit of the type of work that you are doing, still doing with that, and maybe types of clients that you work with?
Yeah, so I've been doing this more community service type of job for about 4.5 years. So before that, like you've referenced, I had a number of different things that I started and was involved with, one being Wins Company. And as I completed college and was out, trying to find where I was going to land in the career, world, career space, whatever you want to call it, I decided to start up a clothing brand that embodied and celebrated our Appalachian Mountains and created a number of different products and tried to sell them. To make a long story short, that evolved into what became a more creative services company, and in 2018 officially launched it as such, where that was my full-time job. I had a one-person agency, so to speak, where I was offering creative services and in a lot of different ways. So it was like merchandise design and production, which I had a lot of experience in, some creative film and video production, which we contracted a lot, and the third thing would kind of be more so, I guess, like event based and just kind of more just random kind of things. So yeah, started that, and that was a fun endeavor. As it did with many things, COVID impacted that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There were some contracts and things that were influenced by that, with budgets and all that stuff. So ultimately that actually, sparked a pivot for me, and now it is more of I take jobs when I can and when it fits, but that is not my full-time role, but it was something I learned a lot of starting up, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And even the rough times where you had to make the hard decision to, you couldn't be full-time anymore, that was tough, but that happened, and that's okay. And so now I've been able to focus on full-time job as this role, but took a lot from starting that and growing that in those few years.
Well, I know the experience that you had doing that definitely helps with the things like co-starters, and when you help the students on campus with UVA, the collaboration that we have with them for entrepreneurship. So you're a great person for them to be in contact with.
Thanks.
Well, with this, before I move on, was there a specific project that you really loved before it became kind of just something you do intermittently?
Yeah. Through the course of that work, which I love taking projects when I can. And well, what I kind of still get to do it on a consulting level in this role because I get to work with startups all the time, and I get to share my experience. I get to have at least give feedback, and sometimes they want creative ideas, so that's also fun. But yeah, so one of the best thing I'll say was through that time was I got to partner with an organization many people in our area at least would be familiar with, Friends of Southwest Virginia. They developed a kind of like this tourism brand for Southwest Virginia. You might not realize it if you're watching and you've seen this before. You see the brand out there in a lot of different ways, whether it's through outdoor recreation signage, billboards, events. Like we have this kind of collective brand that's been established for our region, and so I got to work with them and actually launch the first iteration of like apparel. And what we sought to do was create these new products centered around that brand, but we also kind of threw our creative flair on it too, and house the main shop or the main experience to buy was at the Visitors Center that's located in Abingdon, Southwest Virginia Cultural Center. But we also developed a plan to get that out to communities and localities and local shops and visitor centers to house the brand in their local shops. And so we had this kind of cohesive market, so to speak, of all these Southwest Virginia type of apparel and stickers and all the stuff in all these destinations and tourist places. So that was fun. I got to help like kind of launch that and work on a campaign. It got cut short with COVID, but we had a storytellers campaign where I worked with I think it was like 6 or 7 creatives in getting out in the region, taking video, photo, and almost like a POV like experience of these different things. And it was all Southwest Virginia creatives, which I loved, and I really hate that we never got to fully explore that and get it out there. But that was my favorite part of it all. And then I guess one other great thing I wanted to mention, and this kind of encapsulates what I do now, is I've worked with a startup and built out like their brand and their logo even within the last couple of years, and that's always fun to me because working with founders right at the beginning to offer whatever advice and skill I can to help them get to the next step is always fun. So that's something I still enjoy and try to do when we can.
Awesome. And yeah, I've seen the branding around.
Yeah. Yep.
Southwest is best and stuff. I love it. It's
great. The little badge, right?
Yes.
SWVA.
Yeah.
We had a hat that like still we sell it in some places. It's still alive in some ways, but the little like badge hat and everything is very become a little bit iconic, so to speak. I don't know if you know, like Folk Soul Revival, the band, they all like had those hats, and so they were out like promoting their region with that apparel. They're just like one example of that, and I always thought you could get even beyond that, and who knows, like we could have had 49 Winchester like wearing the stuff maybe at this point, but we didn't get to do it yet.
You never know. There's always time for revival.
There is.
Always time for revival.
That's true.
So not only did you start the Wins Creative Company, but you've also been a managing partner with Lincoln Road Coffee House.
Yeah.
And that's in Norton for people who don't know. Amazing. You guys should check it out. So how do you think that those types of experience play into your current role, where you're an innovative and ecosystem manager with UVA Wise, and vice versa?
Sure.
So back and forth.
Yeah, I think they do go hand in hand in a lot of ways. And if you are on campus and you're watching this, our coffee shop is right off College Ave again, in Norton, a little bit further off. So come check out Lincoln Road Coffee Lounge. We love having students and staff and faculty in all the time. But yeah, it plays hand in hand. So launching the Norton location, there's a long story with Lincoln Road Coffee. It started a good bit ago. I got involved when we launched a Norton location. That's where I was living at the time, and we wanted a coffee shop. I had history with the founder, and so we brought it there. Now I am a co-owner in the whole thing. We have the retail. We roast and brew coffee there that we ship to wholesale partners, and so doing that, once again, it's hands-on lived experience that I can share with founders and new small business owners every day. And so that's the main thing. And the example I'll share is, really within the last 2 or 3 years, we have had, I would say 3 to 5 new coffee shops open in like our close to UVA Wise area region. So like not only Wise County but like surrounding. And we've got to build they've been a part of some programs, those business owners, and we've got like a little community that's formed. And so that's been cool, and that's played hand in hand. Like we've connected over coffee ownership or coffee shop ownership, but then we've also connected and brought them into like programming and helped them continue to grow their business. And so hand in hand there to support this. And then I learn every day in this role, like talking to new founders who are starting new things that I've even maybe never heard of, or a niche that I've not been familiar with. So I pull that into what we do, and what I do on my personal side of things. I love that, like always being exposed to like new technology, new innovation, new ways of thinking, pulling it into what you do every day. And that's what we need. We need more of that started in our region, more businesses that think like that. We want to serve customers and our local people, but let's continue to innovate and make it a healthy, sustainable business, so we have something to, hang our hat on and build wealth with. So that's what we push.
So it seems like you've been doing a mixture of, this creativity with structure through the different roles and projects that you've assisted with. So how do you strike that balance and use it to fuel current as well as future endeavors, both for you personally, but also for businesses in the area?
Yeah. That's a delicate balance, I think, in the entrepreneurship space. Like you can go down the creative innovation side and do so many things, but if you never bring the framework and structure around it, you really won't get anywhere. And so it's a great question. I want to say that what I think the way we've, or at least what I've been able to bring into my role now, thinking about the balance of that, I'll share this. I feel like when I came into this regional facing role where we wanted to build programming for the broader community around Southwest Virginia, we wanted to bring together stakeholders in the region who were offering some services to business owners, entrepreneurs. We wanted to do something a little new, and we call it kind of ecosystem building. It's a term that's out there. You may have heard it before, but we're not talking about like a forest. We're talking about like a healthy startup ecosystem where you have founders who are starting the things, and then you have funders who are the capital you need to get things started, and then you have the founders, the funders, and then you have this like community of mentors, right? Then the experience that you could tap into. Those are just 3 of like key examples of like ecosystem stuff. Trying to build all that out, and it was a new thing for us, right? We're starting these things kind of from scratch. Not a lot of people have heard of this concept, and so for me to be exposed to what I've been and then be put in this role, I think I was able to think creatively and launch some things that, as like economic development and in the government world, we don't really think about, and we kind of get stuck in a certain way. I was able to bring like a new perspective, and that paired with the skills of a lot of people who have done things, by the book and have to report and have these metrics that you watch and all that. Merging those together, me learning that side of things, I don't know, it's been a really healthy kind of like culmination, I guess, of being exposed to both worlds. So it's helped in what we've been able to launch in programming standpoint, and then I've pulled that like learning of structures and processes and policies into even what I do on the other side. So I don't know, I hope that made sense in sharing that, but I think it's definitely merged 2 worlds for me personally, and I hope it's helped both like worlds that I work in.
And you had mentioned briefly like one of the 3 main pillars there being mentors. I'm sure having those different people, it helped perspective wise, like we need both.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right. Yeah, mentorship and in the entrepreneurship space, it's like we're getting to where we talk about it, but people don't realize that like the reason a community may not be thriving in that way is that they don't have their successful business people and entrepreneurs pouring back into the community and into the people who are trying to like continue it and grow, which would result in like growth. So yeah, it's a really key piece, I think.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job of getting the ecosystem piece together. So
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Yeah. Okay, so you have, of course, been involved heavily in Southwest Virginia. We've talked about some of those instances. Can you talk about maybe what sparked your interest in the region specifically, and like staying and doing stuff?
Yeah, I want to share a word with you. I'm curious if you've heard before. Topophilia. Can you piece together what it might mean based on the
Topophilia, I'm guessing it, topo, like topography.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I've become familiar with this term as of the last few years. Topophilia essentially is boiled down to a love of place.
Okay.
And really like a very strong desire and a love for a place. And I think we all have that in a lot of ways, and that could be attributed to maybe it's like where you grew up, your home, or maybe where you had certain life events and successes or relationships formed. But I bring that up. I think my passion and desire to pour into Southwest Virginia, albeit my personal endeavors and or my job that requires me to be in the community, it comes from that love of place. Like I really love, for whatever reason, and a lot of it, I'm from Appalachia, I'm from Southwest Virginia, so that's part of it, I know, but I've held on to that, and I do love our region, and like I love, and a part of that study of topophilia is like even the landscape, like they've kind of studied where some people just love a certain type of environment and landscape. So I think there's so many like boxes checked on that like study of what they found out about how someone loves a place. I think it's like it's my home, it's a beautiful landscape, it's amazing people, like work ethic, and just a love of community, like all those things that I find in Southwest Virginia and where I'm at in Southwest Virginia. It fuels me to want to do well in my personal entrepreneurship endeavors, but also in building up more entrepreneurs and helping them tap into that love of place, because we're at a place in time where you can launch like a successful, innovative company anywhere you want with the technology we have. It may be a little bit tougher in certain areas than others, or it will be because there's not as much of a healthy ecosystem. But if you really love a place and you want to do something, this is the best time in history to just, I love this place and I think I can do it here. So that's a message I always want to get out. If you love this place and you want to be here, let's figure out how you can start what you want to start, what you can create. Like the thing says, create what you wish existed here, the community that you want, that maybe you share with your other fellow community members, create it here. So that was a lot, but I think it goes back to like a love of place that is within me that comes from a lot of different things, and like pouring back into our region.
Well, I love that. Most people who stay in Southwest Virginia love it, and I've talked to many people who have moved here from like Florida and other places. They're like, I don't know, something about it, I'm just staying. And I'm
I know, right? I hear that a lot. Something about it, right? Yeah.
So if you don't live in Southwest Virginia and you're listening, or you're a student,
great place,
and you live elsewhere, we would love to have you come and stay. Okay.
Especially if you're a student and you've been on campus but haven't like ventured out to see what's out there. I know it's sometimes hard to know, but you don't know until you get out there. Sometimes we do have technology to tell us like where to go, but explore like our little towns and cities around you and see what's out there. Meet the people that are like, every town I've worked with and been in, there are people who want to see it be the best it can be. And that goes for Wise, it goes for Norton, it goes for Coburn, St. Paul, Big Stone Gap, like all these places around us. Like, check them out, and if you like this place and you feel like a pull to be here, you should tap into that a little bit for sure.
And all of these places are doing wonderful things right now.
Absolutely.
And trying to grow and hold stuff. So from the Nest to CreatorCon, Co-Starters, and then other initiatives, right? You're greatly involved in assisting the region with various resources. So for those looking to have a similar impact, like you were talking about your love of place, right?
Yeah.
For people who want to have a similar impact, whether it's here or wherever they decide to go after they graduate, what kind of advice do you have for them? Yeah,
get involved with something. I think I've ran into the misconception of people thinking things aren't happening or going on in their community, but they also haven't taken the initiative to go see if there are things happening. And I surprise people constantly when they're like, yeah, I wish this was happening, or I wish this thing would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, do you know this person's like working on that right now? And I bet they would love to like work with you on it. So more times than not, there's someone out there who shares that desire with you, or have already started something. And like ask around, like go out and see if there are things already happening and get involved with it. And if there's not, just start it. Like, and you can start by bringing people together and putting it out there that you want to do this thing, whatever it is, or be involved in this thing, and see if people come to talk about it. And that's where it starts. I mean, like, just bring the people together around a vision, around an initiative, around a goal. I mean, a goal is helpful. It's like, we want to accomplish X, Y, Z. You may not know how you want to do it yet, whether that's a new X amount of startups or new businesses launched or whatever. Bring people together around that goal and just see what happens, and be the person who can say, well, you seem like you could really take on this part of that. Let's run with it, and sort of like, create a little bit of a team environment and just go after it, because the more you draw people together, good things usually happen. And it is tough. It's getting a little bit better out of the pandemic and when we got super isolated, but it's getting better. People want to get out. They want to meet in person. They want to have that spark and that serendipity feeling of being together and creating and ideating. So that's where I started. Like, get people together, go out and find people, and put yourself out there, and see what happens.
Yeah, don't be afraid to talk to your community.
Yeah,
people
right.
In the community.
And also, this probably been done before, what you want to do. So go research and see how it was done. Bring that, retrofit it to where you want to implement it potentially, and see how it could fit.
Mm-hmm. Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm glad.
Okay, so right now, what's coming up for you? Like events or, all of it. What's coming up? Projects? All of it.
Well, I'll share, I guess, two things. If you're a student on campus and you're watching this and you're thinking, how do I learn more about like entrepreneurship or what Blake's talking about? I would say get in touch with myself, Lamar Steele, or Annie Jordan. That's our innovation team. That's community facing. We'll get you, plugged in. But if you're just looking for like an event to come to in February, we have a diversity panel of Black entrepreneurs that's going to be happening. Come out to that. We'll have a Women's Leading the Way entrepreneurship panel as well. Those are two things we love doing in the spring that I would say look for if you're on campus, and we'll be there. We'd love to connect with you, but you also don't have to wait that long to like reach out, because that's later on down the road. On a community standpoint, but also to students, faculty, and staff, and I strongly say also to them, we have a startup boot camp coming up in March. It's going to launch middle of March, and that's wide open to anyone in the Southwest Virginia region. Essentially, we take folks from idea to launch point. Sometimes that's a brand new venture. Sometimes it's a new expansion of their current business. And we're looking for at least 15 great founders, business owners to be a part of that. And applications are open, and we'd love for you to consider that. If you're starting or launching a business, there'll be a lot of incentive, a lot of learning opportunity, and resources, and even cash awards associated with that. And depending on where you want to launch it and how you want to launch it, there could be a substantial amount of like cash awards based on the community that you might be in. So if you're anywhere in Southwest Virginia, consider that. You'll find it at hatchaccelerator.com, and it'll be under our launch tab. There's a couple different programming options to look at, but that's under our launch tab. So check it out, and be on the lookout for it.
So I like to always ask our guests before we kind of close out, what's been keeping you curious lately, whether that's like a podcast or a book. It doesn't have to be based on what you do for work. It could be anything.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
Well, let's see. The first thing I'll share is I nerd out over like business news. Go figure. But there's a really digestible podcast that is called T-Boy, TBOY, the best one yet. That's what it stands for. they do a rough 15-minute business news blitz daily, and they cover cutting top of mind business news, and they also put this investing spin on it. So they're big. They came from a financial banking background, so they're also giving company updates. They read they read the big reports and stuff that come out. So that's one I like to stay in touch with. And I did just finish Stranger Things. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm actually thinking about that right now. It was last night, but that's a fun one that keeps me. I like getting our business stuff, but then creative and music and TV can also be a good outlet for me. So if you haven't watched the new Stranger Things season, I don't know how you would have missed that it's out. But
all right. So how can people just stay informed with what you all are doing, what you're doing specifically? And I can also put that in the description.
That would be great. And if you would share, I would push students or on-campus community to look for The Nest, and that's on Instagram. We're pretty active. I would start there. We do have a Facebook and maybe TikTok as well, but Instagram, The Nest, that's the space we're in, but also the programming we provide on campus. And if you're in the broader community outside of UVA-wise, you definitely still follow The Nest if you want to stay plugged in. But look up the Hatch Accelerator that I mentioned and Opportunity Southwest Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So those are two key programs / initiatives that we get to lead, facilitate, and that we try to keep everything current within those spaces. So Hatch, you'll find the programming focused stuff. Opportunity Southwest Virginia, you'll find this more robust kind of resource platform that's ever evolving and growing. And a lot of people have a part in. So those two things would be great. So that's a website, that's social media. Both of those you'll find everything.
Beautiful. Yay. Is there anything else that maybe I didn't cover, forgot to ask you about that you wanna plug or talk about?
I just want to say how inspired I am by the students at UVA-wise, the excitement around campus, and y'all keep doing your thing and get in touch with Chelsea, her team, get your future set, and if we can help you on the entrepreneurship, business side of things, we want to do that and get you plugged in. Oftentimes we'll connect people with current entrepreneurs, business owners, just to help you learn about the environment.
Oh yeah, sometimes you just gotta ask the questions, and so you know where you're going.
Yep.
So, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all again so much for tuning in for this episode. Of course, make sure you connect with Blake and The Nest. Again, everything will be in the description. And reach out to us if you need us at careerdiscovery@uvawise.edu. Bye.
Let's go.